Hello, welcome to this tutorial. I have been asked through some of the comments in one of my videos to do a more in-depth tutorial on how to use StepPolyArp Unit to drive other synth instances in AUM. So what I thought to do, as there are a lot of videos already on the internet on how to use StepPolyArp Unit, I thought to actually go through one of the previous example I recorded, which was about how to create and arrange style settings using StepPolyArp Unit. This is not the only solution, of course. There are other ways that you can implement these. And certainly in this case, I decided, for example, to drive even drums through StepPolyArp Unit. But that's something that you might decide to do in a different way. So let's get started. So first of all, what do I have here? I have a MIDI channel with StepPolyArp Unit. Here we go. I will explain these in a second. Then I have on MIDI channel 1, I have a kick drum with Synth Master Player, and let me open it. The preset is DR Kickoff Yes, and that is responding, as you can see, only on channel 1 and also channels above 8. Then on channel number 2 I have a snare drum. Here we go, that's the preset, the tremor snare. And I set that to respond only to channel number 2 and above 8. Then on channel number 3, MIDI channel number 3, I have the hi-hats, and I'm using the Dyna hi-hat producer preset. Again, this is set to listen only to MIDI channel number 3 or above 8. Then on channel number 4, I have a synth brass preset, the Open Brass MK preset from Synth Master, and again this is listening only to channel number MIDI channel number 4 and above 8. Moving on, I have another set to MIDI channel 5. This is a ballad arp, which I can trigger using different patterns from StepPolyArp. Then I have on channel number 7 an instance of Xeon, and I use these to actually create a solo. Then on channel number 6 I have another synth, which is good to have to show again different patterns and how to construct those. And in this case I'm using the PLK Synesthetic UK preset. And then on channel number 16, which is also the channel that I use for StepPolyArp, I have an instance of Sunriser, and here I'm using a pad sound, the AI, the watcher. And I use this to give a bit of body to the arrangement. On channel number 7, I have another instance of Synth Master Player. In this case, it's a bass, and I use the preset Bed Kick Sub UK. And then I have at the end a bass, which is receiving the output from all the other channels. The reason I use the bass is that I can controls the final output of all the channels. But again, this is based on your preferences. So let's go back to StepPolyArp and let's see what we have done here. So first of all, for this demonstration, I haven't acted on velocity, modulation, palm, volume, aftertouch, or pitch bend. As you can see, I haven't made any modification or alterations there, but I did use the patterns section of StepPolyArp Unit, and the reason is because this allows you to simulate effectively what you have in scenes in some of those MIDI workstation. So in this case, let's select the buttons number 1. So what did I do here? So first of all, the speed is set to 1/16. The gate is set to 90% in terms of how long it keeps the note playing. There's no groove, and we're set only to play with 1 octave, and the order to play is ascending, as you can see on the top, on the right top, where it says underneath order. Then in the middle, as you know, this is where you create your pattern. So let's go through it. So on the left hand side, where you see that column, the dark gray column starting with +12 0 0 0 0, then D sharp 3, G2, D2, etc., etc. So if you click on the sharp 3, it reveals additional settings. Here what I've done, I used the absolute setting so that it triggers only that particular note, and it sends that particular note on MIDI channel number 1. And then what I've done, I have put the notes, as you can see, every 4. So if I was to play this now and I put the solo on only on MIDI channel number 1, you can see what is going to happen. I set also the latch here, so it will keep playing. As you can see, we have the kick drum. So StepPolyArp Unit is triggering the first channel where we have the kick drum. Let's go back to StepPolyArp. So below that, under D sharp 3, we have G2. If we click on that, on the second channel, we are triggering the note G2, and we're triggering that every other step of the kick drum. So effectively, we are triggering the snare drum. So let's listen. If I put together snare and kick, okay. Now, under D2, we have the third MIDI channel, which is practically triggering the hi-hats. So let's listen with the hi-hats on a solo. Try again. So in this case, you can see how you can simulate a drum pattern completely controlled by StepPolyArp Unit. Next, what I've done on where it says +0, I'm actually triggering some notes on channel number 4, also on the line above on channel number 4, and also on the line above, which is still channel number 4. Where it says the number 1, 2, 3, it means that, for example, on the first note is in the first event, sorry, it triggers the first note that I played. So if I play, for example, a C minor chord, and the first note, like C, E minor, and G, the first note would be a C, and the second would be an E flat, sorry, no E minor, E flat, and then the third one would be a G. So in this case, I practically have a pattern of 1, 2, 3, 3, and then the chord displayed twice together. Okay, and it gives you effectively this effect. Let's listen. Channel number 4. Okay. On the very top, where is that line of all ones, if I click again on the left hand side on the +0, it shows you that I particularly send events on channel number 7. By the way, on channel number 7 and channel number 4, I set the relatives. No, absolutely, that means it will follow the notes that I'm played on the keyboard. So, but in this case, he's sending the first note, 1, the number 1, to channel number 7, and practically this is what you hear. This is what happens. Here we go, channel number 7. And again, inside StepPolyArp Unit, this is a C minor chord, B flat major now, A flat major, then back, okay. One thing that I haven't mentioned is that I'm currently using 2 MIDI controllers. StepPolyArp Unit is receiving on channel number 16, and I have selected my Roland A series MIDI controller, which is also triggering on channel number 16 that Sunriser instance. Okay, the reason I set it up like this is that, of course, when I hit keys on the Roland MIDI controller, it will trigger StepPolyArp Unit, which will control the instances of Synth Master Player. But at the same time, the notes I played on that MIDI controller will also trigger the pad, which is played on channel number 7 by Sunriser. So let's have a listen to it. I will go through a number of chords now. Okay. Doing it in this way, of course, because the pattern uses only the first, second, and third notes that I played, I can play additional notes on top of that, which will not be triggered by StepPolyArp Unit, but they will be played by the Sunriser instance, and that gives me something nicer in terms of arrangement. So let me give you an example. Hopefully you will hear that I will try to play 4 notes in every chord. Great. Next, what I've done, I've connected an Akai professionally 25 keys MIDI controller against the Zio instance, and if I use that, So now what I can do is play on one MIDI controller some of the codes. Those will trigger StepPolyArp units, which will drive SynthMaster player instances and also the instance of Sunriser to play that pad. And I can play a solo using the other MIDI controller. So let's have a try. Great. Fantastic. The next thing I would like to show you is how to use buttons. So at the very bottom, I'm selecting buttons, and the one which I'm playing now is button number 1. I'm going to show you how you can create a new pattern. So if you click on button number 1 again, you can copy the pattern, and then you can also paste it on a different pattern. And you can also have the ability of change the next pattern after a number of play times. So for example, pattern number 1 will continue to play, but if I click pattern number 2, that will play 3 times, and after 3 times it will move to the next pattern, which is pattern number 3. And pattern number 3 again is changed to the next one, so after it played once it will move to pattern number 4. As you can see, pattern number 2 has added something else at the very top. If I click on the settings of the channel, is triggering channel number 6, which is a different synth, and is playing notes in the succession of 3, 2, 1, 2, and it keeps repeating that at certain intervals. After it plays 3 times, it moved to pattern number 3, which is exactly the same as pattern number 2, but it has an additional snares on the G2 line to show a little bit of variance before it moves to the next one, the next pattern. On pattern number 4, again, is different from pattern number 1 because again it adds it drives another channel, in this case channel number 5, which is where I put that ARP sound. So I'm going to try now to use different pattern and see what happens. Okay. I hope you like this tutorial, and hopefully this will help you to create other arrangements using StepPolyArp Unit. Of course, you might decide to change the setup. For example, you might decide to insert something like digistick drummers. In that case, you don't have to drive the individual sounds of of your drum session. That's up to you. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed and find this useful. Thank you very much. Bye.